All right, good morning, everyone. This is Lair, and today we are driving on FSD a little bit. I thought maybe I would give like a review of FSD, kind of, or tell you how far it's come in the time that I've been using it. So I've been using FSD now for about a year. I got my first Tesla in October of 2024. I was blessed with some circumstances around April of this year that allowed me to get the Juniper. And I was basically able to just do a straight swap. And I got to go tour the Tesla factory in Austin, the Gigafactory. It was really, really cool. But all of that to say, on my previous car, I had about 35,000 miles. On this car, I have about 15,000 miles. So I've done about 50,000 miles of FSD now, because I'm probably rounding a little bit because, you know, there's miles I've driven that weren't on FSD on these cars. But for the most part, it's all FSD miles. So I figured that I would just kind of share my experience a little bit and tell you how far it's come. When I got the 2024 Model Y, it was on version 12.3.6, I think. We're now on 14.1.7. I don't have 0.7 yet. I'm still on 0.4. But that's how far we've come in the time that I've been driving FSD. So 12.6.3 blew my mind, or 12.3.6, sorry, blew my mind. It was incredible. And that's going to be the theme of this video probably, is you're going to be like, well, has it improved? Like, you just say it's incredible every single time. So like, was it incredible back then or is it incredible now? The answer is both. It was incredible back then and it's incredible now. And it's different levels. Let me see. It's incredible for different reasons. Like back then, it was the best autonomous vehicle experience I had ever had in my life. And now it's the best autonomous vehicle experience I've had in my life. So like, it's not that it was perfect in 12.6 or 12.3.6, but it was incredible. Like, as somebody who had never been in a Tesla with full self-driving, I got into this one for the first time and it was just doing everything for me. In fact, I went on the test drive and the person that was helping me, a woman, I think her name was Celeste, maybe, not important. She said, hey, this car that you're fixing to test drive is equipped with full self-driving. You should try it. And I was like, okay, how do I do that? And she said, well, just click this button, or at the time it was pull the stalk down. And she said, it'll engage full self-driving and it'll take you anywhere you want to go. So I said, okay, great, I'll give it a shot. So at that stage, my camera doesn't want to stay where I've got it. I might have to try to figure out a different strategy. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and plan a stop so I can pull over and fix that. FSD really wants me to pay attention for some reason. I'm going to plan a stop right up the road so that we can get out and fix the camera. So Celeste tells me, hey, you can engage full self-driving and the car will do everything for you. And I thought, like, yeah, sure. You know, I'm thinking what everybody else thinks, and that is that this is cruise control and they're trying to sell me on, you know, adaptive cruise control that will keep the speed of cars in front of you and lane assist that'll keep you in the lines. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I knew that autopilot was a thing because I had been hearing the phrase autopilot for years, you know, since the early 2010s or whenever autopilot first started being a thing, maybe around 2012. I knew that autopilot was a thing. I guess I'll simplify it like this. If you've never tried self-driving, you have no frame of reference. Like, there's no experience that you've had in a different car that comes close to the experience you're going to have with self-driving. There's just not. And what that means is it's really, really hard to communicate to people why this is impressive in any kind of way at all. But it just is. I mean, it's just incredible. Sorry, I was trying to see if there was somewhere else I wanted to stop to do my camera fix, or if the camera fix will even work. I have no idea. But where we've got in there will work. So I get into this test drive, and I turn on self-driving, and I had a destination in like Best Buy, and that's in the Woodlands, Texas, which, you know, I know most of you have never been to the Woodlands, Texas. It is a labyrinthian place because it's all wooded, and it's a city, but the planners of the city left it all wooded. So everything kind of looks the same, and it's, at least to me, it's very confusing to get around in the Woodlands. So when I go there, I almost always get lost. So I just tell the car, hey, I want to go to Best Buy, and I pull the little stalk and engage self-driving, and then it's doing U-turns, and it's obeying traffic lights, and it's yielding for people, and it's yielding for pedestrians. And that's what really blew my mind, is like, I don't think I had any way to even imagine what it was fixing to do until it did it. I'm going to change my stop here. See if... I just noticed we're in Mad Max mode, which I do not normally drive in at all, but I guess I am right now. So yeah, I'm going to change my stop to this new gas station that's right here. See how that does. So anyway, that sold me. I was like, I have to get one of these. And fortunately, you know, I was blessed with a position where I could do that. I was in the right time in my life where I could just make a change. So after talking it over with my wife a lot, and getting a concussion, I actually ordered my first Tesla while I was concussed. I tripped going up the stairs. I was getting ready to leave for a business trip. I was going to Denver, Colorado for a sales meeting, and I was carrying my laptop in my arm because I had to take it with me on the trip. And I tripped going up the stairs, and my knee hit the step, and my laptop hit my knee, and then it shot up into my head. Anyway, concussed me pretty good. So, I'm concussed. I'm sitting at home. I text my wife something like, I'm going to buy a Tesla. And she says, haha, do it. And that's all my greedy little ears needed to hear. And I ordered one. So, you know, that's great. I feel really weird right now, by the way, because I'm in traffic. Like, there's a bunch of other cars. Like, I don't know if you can see how many other cars there are in the camera footage up there, but there's a lot of cars here. And I am in a fishbowl with the lights on. I have this light on so that, oh, you can see my face without the light. What am I doing? Okay. So lights off now. So anyway, I ordered it, concussed and all, and it was ready in like a week, and I got to go pick it up. And when you get a concussion, what I was having was I would move my head or I would move my vision, and my left eye wasn't keeping up with my right eye, so it had this like kind of blurred effect. Look, I am not advising that anyone drive a Tesla with full self-driving while they are concussed. But if you have to drive while you're concussed, a Tesla with full self-driving is probably the best way to do it, I'll be honest. Because I went down and I picked up my car and I got the free month of full self-driving. And at this point, I'm still kind of iffy on whether I'm going to use full self-driving regularly. Like, I haven't put together the pieces. So I get the car. The guy tells me, here's how you do it, all that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a seasoned pro. I've test driven one once. And then I get out on the road and it takes me, all the way back to my house. And I think there were some times I disengaged because I didn't really know how the system worked partially, but also 12.3.6 back then was a little rougher around the edges. So we're going to park in this parking lot. I'm going to disengage here so I can park behind the gas station rather than in front of it, because I don't want anyone to see me doing what I'm doing, which is messing with my camera. I had a great idea, and that is to go get a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. So I'm going to add that here. This time I'll use the voice command so you can see that. Navigate to Starbucks in Conroe. And then we've probably got 15 different choices. We will go to... Yeah, I guess we'll go to the one that's on our route here. Okay, we got to stop at Starbucks. We're going to start self-driving, and I'm going to get us off of Mad Max because that is actually not my preferred way to drive. That speed profile is so fast all the time, and I am not that. I'm a driving Miss Daisy kind of dude, frankly. Okay, where was I? What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I was concussed. I bought a Tesla. I got home. I was amazed. And then I just kept using full self-driving, but I also learned about the over-the-air updates. And the over-the-air updates are awesome. And what I learned was I'm going to sit up and I'm going to refresh my app and I'm going to go out to the car and check for updates. Like there's a way that you can go in here once a day and you can check for updates by scrolling down to this part right here that right now says your car software is up to date as of November 16th. So I got obsessive about these updates because I realized they're adding like new functionality and stuff. So after I bought my car, I get the update that adds Smart Summon, which I had never even heard of. I had no idea what that was. And Smart Summon basically will let you take your phone and hold down a button and the car will come to you. And it'll only work off of public roads in a parking lot or wherever. So if you're in the grocery store, the way I use it, and I use Summon literally every day. I mean, I use it all the time. And I'm probably like a Summon power user because I don't think a lot of people use this feature the way that I do. If I'm coming out of a store, like say I'm at Barnes & Noble, when I'm checking out and I'm using my card, my hand is usually on my phone and I'm holding down the button and my car is already pulling up to the front. Now, that's not advised. That is not how Tesla tells you to use it. Tesla says be inside of your vehicle and all that. I assume the risk that something may go wrong, and I really, really, really hope it doesn't, because that would be terrible if the car hit something in the parking lot or whatever. But in my experience, and I know some people have had different experiences with Smart Summon, it works really, really well. Well, I say that just to say that was not a feature that my car came equipped with when I bought it. That was a feature that was pushed via an over-the-air update, months after I bought my car. Insane. It's just insane. It's insane to think about that they can just send an over-the-air update that adds functionality like that changes the way I use my car every single day. So along with that, there were some other FSD updates. So the first one that I got was 12.5.4.1, I think, or 12.4.5.1. I don't know. This is irrelevant. I think 12.4.5.1. And this was a giant step up. Like all of a sudden, my car was handling things with a little bit more confidence than it was before. Certain turns and intersections, and there was one turn on my trip especially that even through 12.4.5.1 or whatever, I was always taking over because there was like a dip on the side of the road where there was a pothole that went into a ditch, and I kept thinking FSD is not going to make that turn wide enough, and I'm going to end up in the ditch. Well, so right there, if you're watching the driving portion of the video, you saw FSD swerved because there were some lines on the road. There were some dark black lines where some tire marks were. This is a new thing with version 14. They're trying to tune the object avoidance, and they haven't quite gotten it right yet. So right now it's especially sensitive. It doesn't do it every time. Like, see, there were some tire marks there. You probably couldn't see them on the video, but FSD doesn't do it every time. But what I will say is that it has dodged successfully every pothole, every roadkill, every hazard on the road. It just also dodges some stuff that it doesn't really need to dodge, but it does it safely, at least in my experience. Okay, so 12.4.5.1 or whatever comes and goes, and then the big update around December of last year or so, 2024, version 13 comes out. Version 13 was mind-blowing. I think for most people who have a Tesla or have driven a Tesla, version 13 was when it really started feeling real. Like, okay, we are in autonomy territory now, because version 13, in the release notes, Tesla had something about updated controller or whatever. And at least in my very limited understanding of the technology side of it, that had to do with how the steering wheel... Okay, I really don't know what I'm talking about. But in my experience, this is what I experienced. The steering wheel was much smoother. Prior to version 13, when you would make turns, or when FSD would make turns, really good anticipation from FSD right there. There's a lane closure sign up ahead, and I think FSD sees that arrow pointing to the left, and it was like, hey, we better go ahead and get over. I love that, because in the past, what FSD would do is zoom up to the front of all this standstill traffic and then try to cut in, and I didn't really care for that, because that's not the way that I like to drive. So the steering wheel was kind of jittery, like in parking lots especially, but occasionally in a turn or whatever. It was almost like it couldn't decide quite what it was doing, and it would jitter back and forth like this. Well, version 13 didn't completely eliminate that, but it mostly eliminated that. And all of a sudden, the steering wheel was so smooth. It was making these sharp turns and stuff, and there was no delay, no jittering. It just would go. Version 13 was the first time where I was like, oh my goodness, this car could do this without me in here. And that was kind of a turning point. So version 13, fantastic, loved it. Version 13 is what a lot of people are still on today. I'm on version 14 because I have in the settings, there's like an advanced tier of who receives the updates first. And up until version 14, I'm pretty sure that advanced button did nothing. But I've got it checked, so they sent version 14 to that group first. So version 13, however, that a lot of people are still on, was so smooth. There was a version called 13.2.9 that pretty much every Hardware for Tesla was on for the last year or so. It was a long drought where there were no FSD updates. Why that is, I don't really know, but I suspect it's because a lot of the attention was shifted to the robo-taxis that launched in Austin. But the thing was that nobody was really that worried about it because version 13 was so good. This was like a technological breakthrough in that version 13 just handled anything you threw at it. And now with version 14, it's even more capable than it was before. It's just a little bit less comfortable than it was before. And if you've watched other FSD videos, you've seen what I'm talking about, or you've heard people talk about it. It's a lot more cautious, and it almost reminds me of going back to version 12. There used to be what people would call phantom braking, where it would just like pump the brakes randomly. Like you'd be going 45 or 55 miles per hour down a road, and then all of a sudden it would just hit the brakes kind of harshly. And I know you're hearing that and you're thinking, oh, it sucks. It's broken software or whatever. You know, to me, there are a lot of little comfort things that I will give up because I want the car to drive for me. Like, it is so convenient to let the car drive for me that a little bit of phantom braking or a little bit of jitteriness or whatever, it's not a deal breaker for me, to be honest with you. And I think that's the conversation that a lot of people who have FSD will have to ask themselves, is like, where are my deal breakers? Obviously, if the car was doing things that were unsafe and putting me or my family in danger, I'm going to drive myself. But that hasn't been the experience I've had at all. It has been the case that when it does things I don't like, those things are uncomfortable. Maybe they're uncourteous to other drivers at some times, although that's becoming really rare. They're not unsafe. It's not like the car is swerving. The example that we had earlier with the tire marks on the road, the car swerved because it was safe to do that. And that's like a risk assessment that FSD is making in the background. Is it safe to avoid this object? If it's not safe, then maybe we could slow down. If we can't slow down, then we're going to go over that object. And FSD is able to make all of that determination and look at your surroundings so much faster than you can. So while it seems like a crazy engineering oversight to make the system overcorrective. Watch this, by the way. This is totally new. The lanes are all jacked because we've got construction going on. We got these cones set up. FSD is not bothered at all. It's not bothered at all. It just goes through the cones, it figures it out, and here we are back on the road. It blows my mind. We had lead cars in front of us that were also doing this, so FSD was able to watch them. But I can tell you from experience, I've done this same drive with all this construction, and FSD just handles stuff. It follows the cones, or if somebody's flagging you down, it listens to them. I don't understand it. Okay, so we're coming up on one of those situations that I was talking about earlier where we're going to cut in. Thankfully, it's not like standstill traffic, so I don't feel too bad about this. This is more like a zipper merge almost. But we're going to cut in here. See, for me, I knew this was coming, so I probably would have preferred to just stay in the left lane back there. But FSD, doesn't have that context, doesn't remember that yesterday this was also like this or whatever. But I think somebody will let us in over on the left, so we'll see. So anyway, I don't remember where I was leaving off on that, but version 13 was incredible. It really changed the game for everybody. Like, we all realized, okay, this is actually a real thing. Version 14 comes along about, I'm going to say September, October of this year. I don't know, my months are kind of running together, but something like that. And version 14 adds some new functionality that I wasn't all that excited about until I got it. And that was that in version 14, you can add a parking spot or like where you want to park. So right now we're going to Starbucks. Our destination is parking lot or charger or curbside. So we're going to do park in the parking lot. And that would be like if you're wanting to park and go into the Starbucks. I don't want that. I want to go through the drive-thru. So when we get there, I'm going to take over and I'm going to get into the drive-thru. If I wanted to go in and get my coffee, though, the car would just find a parking spot and it would park. It would either pull in forward or it would back in, and we would go into the Starbucks. By the way, we're over here in this lane. Tesla figured it out. I sat here and I was talking, not paying as much attention as I should be on full self-driving supervised, I'll be honest. But that is, the danger of it getting so good, right, as we get kind of complacent. Anyway, 14 added the parking options, which is really, really, really impressive. And I didn't think it would be. I was not that excited about parking because I thought like, well, yeah, I'm still going to prefer to park because I'm particular. I want to park kind of in the back of the parking lot. If there's shade, I want to find shade. If there's a car next to me that's all dinged up, I don't want to park next to them because they might not care about just dinging me. Whatever, you know, like we all have our own like preferential stuff that we like in a parking lot. Okay, so here I would stop here and I would let this truck go. Oh, FSD thought about it and then pulled forward anyway. I would have been impressed if it had stopped back there and let the truck go. But I guess there was room for us to come up here. I don't know. Don't want to be an apologist or whatever. I would have stopped probably and been polite. So I didn't think parking was going to matter. I thought I like to park where I like to park, and I'm always going to like to park where I like to park, and the car's not going to know where that is. But what I found is that it is like I was saying earlier, it's so much more convenient to just let the car do it that I'll deal with a parking spot I don't like. Or, you know, if it takes a little longer to find one than I would, maybe this is just me. I'm just not in that big of a hurry to do anything. And I don't mean that like I'm not trying to get where I'm going. I just, you know, my personality is I'm kind of patient. I just, you know, if it takes a minute, I'll just sit and I'll enjoy the minute, you know, that kind of thing. So to me, it's more convenient to just let the car do it. You know, it takes it out of my hands. I can just sit here and supervise and watch and make sure everything's okay, and the car's going to handle it. But the biggest difference between 13 and 14 is it ties all your drives together in a way that they weren't tied together before. Version 13 could technically park at a destination, but I almost never let it do that because it was almost like an accident if it got it right. There are a bunch of videos that you can look up of version 13 parking successfully at a destination. But those are outlier videos. That was not every day, at least in my experience. FSD 13 would not park reliably for me. Version 14, however, the other day, I actually posted a video about this. There was a time-lapse video where I made 7 stops, and I don't have them all in the video, but I did not touch the steering wheel a single time. I didn't touch the pedals a single time, and I went from my house to breakfast, to the bookstore, to thrift stores, to half-price books, to dinner, and back home. So I made 7 stops, roundabout 7 stops, and I never did anything. It was literally all putting in a destination or telling the car a destination and then hitting start self-driving. And it just did everything. And at least in my experience, it was very uncomfortable to try to do that with version 13. Uncomfortable meaning it would really tick off all the other drivers on the road if I sat there and was like, okay, is it going to park? Is it going to park? And it was like slowly creeping through a parking lot, and then it'd park in the middle of a row because it couldn't find a spot, whatever. Like version 13 was very indecisive when it came to end of trip stuff. Version 14, on the other hand, that day, 7 stops or so, and all I did was hit a button on the screen, was the first time that I thought like, okay, my grandma, who doesn't really drive anymore, she could use this and she could go about her whole day and never have to drive. Like she could just sit in the driver's seat and supervise and hit a button, and it would take her to Kroger or take her to the pharmacy or a doctor's appointment or church or whatever. So I think that's gonna be a huge deal in the coming years when some of the people who are a little younger, who are maybe starting to get familiar with the technology, are getting up there into that age range where their mobility is limited a little bit and they can't drive themselves, and suddenly they have this brand new highly technological option that they can use that transforms their life, I really think that is a huge market. We've got a lot of old people, just to be blunt. There are a lot of old people in the United States and in the world, and those old people, need driver assistance tools like this and safety tools because we want to preserve their life as long as possible, right? And having a car that can take you from your house to your doctor's appointment or from your house to church, or you can do all of your errands in one day without the fatigue that comes from driving or whatever, that is a crazy game changer for people in that position that, are starting to lose mobility a little bit. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Anything? I don't know, but just see what's happening. Like, am I crazy? Am I crazy to be as excited about this technology as I am? Like, when I bought my car, I work in oil and gas, so getting a Tesla to begin with was not a popular decision. On top of that, we were in the era of Tesla's a political statement stuff, and that was not good. And like every factor was working against me when I bought one, such that I thought, I don't want anybody to know that I drive it. I don't want anybody to know that's my car. Not because I was like embarrassed or, not because of the politics of it, nothing like that. It was just like, hey, I don't want a lot of attention. I don't want somebody keying my car over this, or I don't want to have to talk to people about, how could you buy that? Whatever. I just didn't want that. And that happened basically right after I bought my first Tesla. Well, after a while, despite my best efforts, I'm a fanboy. I just love the company. I love the car. I think it's the greatest car that you can buy. And I think no other car even comes close to being able to drive for me. And that's the real difference maker, is like, there's no other car that can do what we're doing right now and just sit here while the car drives me wherever I want to go. So we're going to go to Starbucks. I anticipate that we're going to get there without any problem. And I'm going to get my delicious pumpkin spice latte. And then we're going to hit a button on that screen and it's going to take me to work. I don't know. Just seems kind of like we're living in the future to me. I don't know about you, but it is definitely future technology. So coming up in the future, where FSD is going from here, I don't really know. I mean, there's some features that have been kind of teased for a long time. There's one in particular called Banish that I'm interested in. I don't think we're close to Banish, to be honest with you, because I just don't know how exactly Banish would work. So here's what Banish is. Earlier, we talked about Smart Summon, where you can come out of the grocery store and the car will come up and pick you up from a parking spot. Banish is the reverse of that. So you get to the grocery store, you get out of your car and you go in, and the car goes and parks without you in it. Sounds great. I love it. I think it's possible right now, but I don't think it's foolproof right now. And here are the reasons. Sometimes FSD on version 14 has parked people in handicap spots. That's never happened to me, but I would hate to come out and I've got a ticket on my car because it decided to park in a handicap spot. Also, there's a lot of destinations where the parking lot is not attached to your destination. There's like a public road in between. And as it is right now, a Tesla cannot just autonomously operate. Hold on, let me roll that back. A consumer purchased Tesla, so one that you or I own, cannot just autonomously operate on public roads without some kind of licensure or whatever. So if your destination was on this side of the road and the parking lot was on this side, I don't think it's legal for Tesla to do that yet. So anyway, there's a lot of reasons that I don't know if Vanish is coming soon. People want it really bad. I want it really bad. I think it would be awesome. I use Smart Summon all the time. I would use Vanish all the time because it's cool. It feels like you're living in the future. But I'm not sure if it's plausible right now. Not that I don't think the car is capable. I think the car is capable. I don't know if all the puzzle pieces are assembled yet to start putting that puzzle together. Other things that are coming. I don't know. I really have not been very forward-looking with FSD. I just enjoy where it is all the time. And when a new update comes, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy every time. So it's really challenging for me to think like, okay, what could be coming next? I honestly have no idea. I know I'm excited about it. Like, there's 2 updates that have been mentioned by the Tesla people, and that is FSD 14.2, which is the next major point release that I assume is going to be retrained kind of from the ground up. So they're going to take a lot of lessons they've learned from the FSD 14.1 branch, and then they'll merge those into this new 14.2 branch. And I really don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if there's going to be any new features or anything. I assume there probably will be. But there's also the holiday update is coming out soon. So every year, actually usually several times a year, Tesla will put out some kind of holiday update that has a lot of stuff packed into it. And I'm talking like new features and new little fun stuff. Like, there's Santa mode on here that turns your car on the visualizer into Santa in his sleigh, and it turns all the other car into reindeer and stuff. Like, there's goofy little stuff like that, but there's like real functionality that gets added in the holiday updates too. So it is kind of exciting to see what those are going to include. We're in town now. We've got 2 minutes to Starbucks, approximately 4 minutes to a pumpkin spice latte hitting my lips. I'm not basic. There's something about this year, something about the year of our Lord 2025 that has confused my brain into thinking I really like pumpkin spice lattes. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But you know what? I'm going to drink them, and I'm going to keep drinking them. I probably shouldn't drink them, to be honest. It's a lot of sugar, but I'm going to drink at least one a week. I think that's about the tilt that I'm on right now, is about one a week, and that's probably good. It's expensive. I don't know how people go to Starbucks every day. Some people go and spend their $7. I think it's like $6.77 is how much my pumpkin spice latte is going to cost. 6, 7. But doing that every day seems crazy. But I guess everybody's got vices. Like, some people stop and get an energy drink every day, probably. Or, God forbid, smoking cigarettes. Probably spend a lot of money on that. Whatever. One a week, though, I can handle. $6.77 a week. That's not bad. A lot of stuff going on here. Ooh, FSD's pulling the U-turn. I didn't expect that. I was not looking at the visualizer. I thought we were going to turn into that Walmart parking lot. Okay. So it makes me really nervous to have my camera going. I don't like anybody to know that I'm filming something. And this is like a nightmare scenario for me, to be in a public place with a camera going. And it's like a visible camera. I forgot that I had parking in there. FSD was going to park in that spot, which normally is fine, but I want to go through the drive-through, so I'm going to take over. You see how natural that is? Like FSD starts to do something that you're like, I don't want to do that. And then I just grab the steering wheel and I go where I want to go instead. That is basically how any intervention with FSD works, is you just see something happening and you go, I don't want to do that. And you just grab the steering wheel and move to where you want to go. I'm going to kick on self-driving in this drive-through, and we're going to see what happens. So others, okay, it's going. Other people have shown that self-driving works in drive-throughs. I'm going to turn that turn signal off. No! Oh, that was my fault. I turned my left turn signal on, and FSD was like, I got to get out of here, and it started going left. Other people, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to re-engage in this. Other people have shown that FSD works in drive-throughs. I have used FSD in drive-throughs, and it does work somehow. I don't really know how it works, but what's a little disingenuous about that process is right now there's no way to tell FSD that you want to go into a drive-through. So when you get to a destination, you're always going to park somewhere. So you have to disengage, go to the drive-through, and then re-engage FSD to get that to happen, which is fine. I think in the future, if we were talking about upcoming features, there will eventually be a drive-through option in the settings, and I'll be able to say, take me to Starbucks, and I want to go through the drive-through, and it'll just pull me in here. Okay, I'm going to re-engage this once we get here. Okay, so now we're on FSD. There's a couple things about this drive-through that kind of scare me, and I'll just detail those. Nope, I think it really wants to leave. I don't think it understands that we're in a drive-through right now. I'm going to turn the turn signal off and see if it'll stay here, but I don't think FSD has locked onto the fact that we are in a drive-through. So up there is a very weird curve to this drive-through. Okay, FSD is locked in, knows what's going on. Let's see what happens. I'm not going to touch the pedals or the steering wheel. I'm going to get my card out so I'm ready. It's going to be good. Even if it doesn't work, it's going to be good. What's your favorite drink at Starbucks? What do you get? See, if I'm going to Starbucks, I don't want coffee, because Starbucks coffee doesn't really even taste like coffee. I tend to just get like something really sweet, because Starbucks to me is a sweet drink place, not a coffee drink place. Okay, let's see if it works.
Good morning, thank you for choosing Starbucks. Can I start you out with any food or pastries today?
Hi, no thank you. Could I get a grande pumpkin spice latte, please?
Do you just want to keep the whipped cream?
Sure.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
And is that hot?
Yes, please.
Alrighty, I got a grande hot pumpkin spice latte, $6.77.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
So I was about to hit the gas, but I did not hit the gas. Isn't that crazy? How does FSD know? Like, there's something about the transactional nature of a drive-through that FSD can pick up on. I don't know if it's, I don't know. Is it the cameras in here? Is this camera snitching on me? The one that's up in the center? Is it looking at my face and realizing that I've stopped talking and I've turned forward and I'm ready to go? Is it the cameras on the outside of the car listening to the person talk, and it goes, okay, they're done, they said thank you, there was a price exchange? I don't know, I don't get it. Okay, going silent.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. You'll have a question and the tap answer should work in.
Okay. Thank you. No, I'm good.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay.
You too. Okay. So again, I did not do anything there. It just started pulling forward. It just, I don't know how it did that. I honestly have no idea. It was even actually moving me out of that drive-through before I was even ready to go a little bit. Well, let me say that a different way. It was moving me out of that driveway much faster than I anticipated. I was still like setting my drink down and getting my cup holders situated, and it was ready to go. So it was more convenient for me. This is great routing here. So in the past, FSD has gone that way, made a right there. And then when it does that, it's forced into taking a different route to get me to my office. So this is the smart way to go because I can make a left out of this intersection. Look, a lot of stuff, hard to explain. FSD just is crushing it lately. So if you have never tried FSD, here's what you need to do. You need to go to a Tesla dealership or call a Tesla dealership and you need to ask them what their options are for test drives. Some dealerships will still offer you a 48-hour test drive where you get to take the Tesla, and this is a Tesla that's equipped with full self-driving. It's a Tesla that gets free supercharging, so you can charge it up as much as you need to. All of that. And you get to keep it for 2 whole days. So it gives you kind of the Tesla experience. The only thing that you're going to miss out on, that you're not going to get to experience, is how convenient it is to charge at home. And don't write that off. Like, the first time that you go and you charge your car, if you end up charging a 48-hour test drive, don't think that that's part of the everyday experience, because it's probably not. If you have a way to get a home charger, that's the thing to do, because I have never once charged my Tesla on a supercharger while I was not on a road trip. So while I was like in town where I live, I've never once had to do that. And the reason for that is that every night I go home and I plug my car in and I have 100% battery. So that was really hard for me to wrap my brain around when I first got my car. I just didn't realize how convenient that would be. But I never have to go to gas stations and fuel up. I never really have to stop and charge unless I'm on a road trip. And, 95% of my driving is the 100 miles that I do around where I live. So my car's always charged and ready to go for that. So anyway, call them, see what their options are for test drives. Every location is not going to offer the 48-hour test drive. I think they kind of pumped the brakes on that because people were using it like a car rental, and they were flying to New York and getting a 48-hour test drive and driving a Tesla around on their 2-day weekend road trip. So they kind of pumped the brakes on that. But if you ask politely, and if the location that you're at has the cars to spare, they may still let you do it, because I know they have an option to let you do it. But even if you just have to take one for 30 minutes and then bring it back, the way this goes is you go into the dealership or the service center, and they will give you a key that you'll use to unlock it and drive it. You don't really turn a Tesla on, by the way. It is either ready to drive or not ready to drive. It's always on. They'll give you a key that'll let you do everything, and they'll say, okay, be back in about 30 minutes, and then they'll just let you go. They don't go with you. They don't monitor you, although the car, honestly, they can monitor that car. They know where it is and what you're doing. They can probably tell if you're flooring it. I don't know. But go and test drive one, because the only way that you'll understand self-driving, it's not watching videos like this. And I say that as somebody that started out this way myself. Like, as I was waiting on my Tesla to come in, I started watching these videos, and I thought like, oh, that's so cool. That's incredible. I didn't get it until I got in my car and I was using it for myself and sitting in the driver's seat and, letting it drive for me. I just did not understand what I was in for. So go take your butt, put it in a seat, and try it out and see what self-driving is like. See how it anticipates things often faster than you do. I really, really, really think it'll blow your mind. If you end up loving it and you decide you want to buy one, I have a referral code that's down in the description that'll save you like $500 to $1,000, I think, on a brand new Tesla, which is really cool. So hopefully you buy one. I think, for me at least, this is my final testimonial, and then I will shut up, I promise. My Teslas have been the best cars I've ever had without any comparison. And prior to driving these two Model Ys, I drove big trucks. My last car was a Ram 1500, and I traded that for my Model Y, and I was so nervous that I was going to regret it, and I've never even thought about it. I'm so thankful that my car does what it does and is as capable as it is and is as comfortable as it is and all of that. So for me, anytime that I'm buying a car in the future, the question will be, can the car drive itself? And if the answer to that is no, I'm going to look for a different car. And right now, the way the market is, there is only one car brand that can drive itself, and that's a Tesla. So I guess I'm locked in. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a car guy, I'll admit that, but I like cars. I like driving. I like nice trucks. I like fast cars. I like technology a lot, which is probably why I landed on Tesla. But if the car can't drive itself, any other feature is secondary. So as long as Tesla has the market cornered, that's the only car I'm going to buy probably, which is awesome. I don't even mind that at all. Okay, well, we're basically where we're going. We've done nothing. I intervened in the drive-through. I don't know if I did anything else. I parked in a parking spot that I wanted to park in. I'm not going to count either of those things against the car. I was doing what I wanted to do, and it's an incredible tool. So thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.